Hey, are you thinking of a move to Denver, but you don't know where to start? Well, you are in luck. Today we're going to go through the 10 things you need to know about Denver before making a move here to decide if it is the right city for you. Let's go. Guys, if you're thinking of a move to the Denver metro area, I'm a licensed broker here, and I love helping people find their dream home, whether that's in Denver or one of its amazing suburbs where I am today. If you like a little bit more space, hit me up at the information on the screen. Call, text, or email. We will make your move to the Denver area a complete success. Starting off 10 worst things about living in Denver. I'm going to start off with springtime in Denver. Springtime in Denver weather is the worst, in my opinion. Not because it's horrific or severe weather or anything like that, but in Denver we have such nice weather all the time. We have very mild winters for the most part. We do get cold in January and February, but springtime, summer teases us several times, and just when you think summer's right around the corner, wham, you get hit with another spring storm, you get hit with another freeze right before you thought it was okay to plant flowers, plant your gardens and do all that stuff. So springtime in Denver, it can be a little deceiving. We'll get some very beautiful days where it's just nice, sunny, and you think, oh man, summer is here. But then wham, you get hit with a springtime freeze or a snowstorm that covers and blankets the entire city. Most of the time, those spring storms are fairly short-lived. They are our heaviest snows of the year. So be prepared, stretch your back out before you go out snow shoveling. But those snowstorms are short-lived. They melt off pretty quickly, but it's super frustrating when you get your garden planted and then you're watching the weather and it's like, hey, there's going to be a freeze tonight. Make sure you cover up your tomato plants, cover up this and that. It's a bit annoying when you turn on your sprinklers and then you have to go out and drain them and make sure they don't freeze overnight. Overall, is it a huge deal? No, but I think it stinks. All right, number 2, congestion. Thankfully, out here, I don't have to deal with that today. But there are so many people moving into Denver over the last 10 years that it has gotten very congested. There are a ton of people that live here now. There's, areas of the metro area where homes are kind of stacked on top of each other, and there's just a lot of things. A lot of people living in a smaller area. So to combat that, you can move outside of the Denver metro area, go to one of the amazing suburbs. You have a little bit more room from your neighbors, a little bit more freedom to move around and not be stuck in traffic or congestion. But definitely has gotten more congested over the last few years. All right, tying into congestion, item number 3. We're talking traffic. Traffic in the Denver metro area, talking I-25 and I-70, is awful. When you are traveling around the city, let's say you're just commuting to and from work, you can be sitting in Denver traffic for an hour. There's a saying that Denver is 1 hour from Denver. It's not quite that bad. We're not LA or New York City where it's gridlocked, or Philadelphia, but we do get our fair share of traffic jams and heavy congested areas. So something to keep in mind. If you're going to move to a popular area like Denver, you're going to have to deal with other people that also think it's great to live here, and you're going to be stuck in traffic from time to time. Use an app like Waze or something to find different ways around it. That'll help. And if you can just stay off the road in some of those peak commuting times, whether that's morning rush hour or afternoon rush hour, which now lasts from like 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. instead of 5 to 6 p.m. do that. Okay, item number 4. Now this one, not a negative for me, but I know a lot of people that don't care for the sports culture in the Denver metro area. Denver is very much a sports town. We got major teams in all the major sports, even MLS. We got the Rapids, we got Colorado Rockies, Denver Nuggets, Colorado Avalanche, and Denver Broncos. Now Denver Broncos are our heart and soul. We live and die with them. When the Broncos are bad, people are in a bad mood around here. Changed a little bit with getting a lot more people kind of influxing to the Denver metro area. But I can remember several years ago, Broncos won the Super Bowl, went to work on that Monday. It was probably the happiest I have seen people in Denver in a long time. Trains were crowded, places were packed. On any other day when there was that many people congested in one area, it would have been very hectic and people would have been biting at each other. But when we get those championship parades that we're starting to get used to in Denver, with Denver Nuggets coming through on an NBA championship, and the Avalanche have 3 Stanley Cups, Denver's a hot sports town. And it's a hot sports town when even the losing team packs the stadium. Our lovable Colorado Rockies put out a garbage product every year, and we still pack Coors Field. So hopefully that'll change someday, and we'll get some good baseball happening here. But you know, the people love their sports, and people still pack it for a terrible team. Big sports town. If you don't like sports, might not be for you. All right, item number 5, potholes. When you're driving around Denver, you're gonna be hitting several potholes, especially in the springtime after, you know, the winter storms roll through. We have the snow plows plowing up the snow and ice that's on the road. It just leads to potholes. It's one, you know, unfortunate thing. Generally, the freeways are pretty well maintained and taken care of, but some of those side streets do get neglected. So you can be driving through potholes through, you know, a lot of neighborhoods in Denver kind of in that springtime. So just something to watch out for when you're driving. I know a lot of places where you don't get rain and snow, your roads stay the same year after year, and you have bright lines on the road. I know, like places like Dallas and, you know, Southern California, you got, you know, lane dividers where there's things that tell you if you're weaving in and out of your lane. We got so much snow on here and snow plows coming through in the winter that those things would be ripped off in a heartbeat. Just driving here is a little bit different. And speaking of driving, going on to number 6, Denverites cannot drive in the rain. We are pretty good at driving in the sleet and snow and on ice. You know, there are outliers and there are some people who can't drive, period. But driving in the rain seems to be a huge struggle for people here. I have family from the Northwest where it rains all the time, very proficient. Things run smoothly even when it's raining. Here, people lose their mind when they're driving in the rain for some reason. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because we're a dry, kind of arid climate. We don't get a whole lot of that, but driving in the rain kind of sucks here. Item number 7. Rising housing costs and affordability here in the Denver metro area has gotten crazy over the last few years. Now, Denver is actually 30% higher than the national average when it comes to housing. So if you are thinking of a move here, depending on where you're coming from, you may have sticker shock when you see the price of homes here. However, Denver is also 30% lower cost of living than many of the major metropolitan areas. So we're 30% lower than San Diego, about 35% lower than like places like San Francisco and Boston and Washington, D.C., along with New York City. So depending on where you're coming from, you may see Colorado as a crazy good value. But as a person who's lived here my whole life and seen housing prices and seen how everything has gotten significantly more expensive, I will say Denver housing and the cost of living has gone up significantly. Okay, item number 8. Commuting up to the high country. This can be a bit of a challenge, especially if you're going into some of those peak times, going up for skiing, snowboarding, mountain biking, whitewater rafting, different things. The high country in the mountains has so many different options for you as far as things to do, and they're so great. It's a great time to explore up there, especially in the fall, like it is kind of right now as the leaves start changing. It's just beautiful, immaculate, and gorgeous, and everyone else thinks so too. So you're going to be sitting in traffic on I-70 because it's mainly the interstate that goes up through the Rocky Mountains. There are a couple other ones that you can jump on that might be a little bit better if you're going off grid or escaping into some other areas that aren't the mainstream. But if you're headed up to ski resorts in the winter, it's something to keep in mind. If you can go during the week when a lot of people are still at work, or you just leave before everybody else does, like Sunday morning if you're up there for the weekend versus staying till Sunday afternoon when the ski slopes close, can avoid traffic. I-70 is a 2-lane freeway each direction when you're coming in and out of the high country back into Denver. So if an accident or something happens, God forbid if an accident happens in one of the tunnels that you go through the mountains, it could be a challenge for first responders and tow trucks to get there and help those people out. So traffic can be a nightmare coming to and from the high country. Threw this one in there. Doesn't really affect me and doesn't affect many people, but people have long told me that 16th Street Mall is a great place to hang out, and it's fun and it's exciting. Great place to go. 20 years ago, yes, it was a fun place, cool place to hang out. Cool place to go because there was unique shopping there. Now it is just a bunch of chains, big box stores, and it's Bumsville. Okay, a lot of undesirable characters kind of hang out in the 16th Street Mall. There are so many better places to hang out, so I vote we just wipe 16th Street Mall from the things to do in the Denver metro area. So many other cooler areas to check out, so don't even bother with 16th Street Mall. Let's check out one of the other amazing areas around town. Okay, Denver Airport. This one gets on the list because Denver International Airport is located in a very inconvenient spot. It's a pain to get out there. So if you are moving here and you're going to be working for the airline industry, you're going to want to make sure you identify a neighborhood that's a little bit closer to the airport, because Denver International Airport is not within Denver. It's actually about 30 minutes outside of Denver on the Eastern Plains. So it's not convenient for anybody who needs to use it on a regular basis. Originally, we had a Denver airport that was within Denver, and it was in the Stapleton area just of North Denver, and people voted and wanted the airport to be further out because they didn't want the airport noise and the flyover traffic and just having that noisy, planes flying over their houses all the time. So we moved it out. Totally inconvenient for everybody. And now they're building houses out there. So did it really solve the problem long term? No, probably not. But Denver International Airport, it's a great location in the country. So it's like very central. You can get to the West Coast in 2 hours or an hour and a half. You can get to the East Coast in 3 hours. So it's in a great spot of the country. It's just super inconvenient for anybody who lives here in Denver. You got to drive 30 minutes to the airport. If you've flown into Denver and you've gotten off the plane and you're like, oh, cool, I'm in Denver, you know what I'm talking about. You got to take a train into Denver. You got to get a car rental to come back into Denver. There's nothing to walk to out there at the Denver International Airport. So I hope you guys enjoyed these top 10 worst things of Denver. There's a little bit of comedy in there, a little bit of satire. There are some things in Denver. There are things to consider, like the congestion, the traffic, the affordability is high. Overall, it's an amazing place to live. It's where I love to call home and raise my family. So if you are thinking of a move here, I bet those things probably aren't deal breakers for you, but there are things to consider if you're going to make a move here and be living here. So hit me up at the information below. Comment where you're watching from too, guys. I'd love to find out where you guys are seeing this video from and what your city and state is. But hey, when you are coming to visit and coming to the Denver area, thinking of making a move here, hit me up, call, text, or email.